the regular meeting of the Quincy School Committee to order for September 27th. Everyone please rise and salute the flag. With honor, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please keep in your thoughts the family of Dan Malvesta. Dan is a former teacher, assistant principal. He served in our school system for over 40 years, from 1953 to 1994. And his last role was principal at the Parker Elementary School, and Dan passed away last week. Thank you.
Superintendent, please call the roll.
Mr. Bergoli.
Present.
Mr. Demichis.
Present.
Mrs. Hughley.
Present.
Ms. Isola.
Present.
Mrs. Lebo.
Present.
Mrs. Mahoney.
Present.
And Mayor Cope.
Present.
And also Luke Malloy, North Quincy High School.
A motion to approve the regular minutes of September 13th. Motion to approve by Mr. Demichis, second by Ms. Hughley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the open forum, this is an opportunity for community input regarding the Quincy Public Schools. After giving his or her name, each speaker may make a presentation of no more than 4 minutes to the school committee. An individual may not exchange their time or yield to others. Is there anyone present who would like to speak this evening at open forum?
Scott Alessandro, 70 Edward Street. According to tonight's agenda, we will get a preliminary enrollment figures for QPS. I don't know if enrollment is up or down, but I do know that a concern amongst many of the parents I speak with is the housing construction in Quincy and its future impact on our schools. It is wonderful what is happening in Quincy. All the new construction shows that there is faith in Quincy as a city on the rise. There is a plan for Quincy, and the mayor and city council are acting upon it. We want to make sure there is a similar plan in place in case there is an increase in enrollment for Quincy Public Schools. The mayor and the superintendent have proven adept in securing maximum funding for Central and Sterling. And there are plans for a new elementary school for Squantum and the purchase of the St. Mary's site in West Quincy. Will this new elementary school and plans for a possible other new elementary school alleviate the current population burdens in the school, or the population burdens 5 years from now or 10 years from now? The new housing construction is supposed to not significantly add to the Quincy Public Schools school population, but what if it does? What are the assumptions about future QPS enrollment growth? And even if there is not enrollment growth, what will adding another elementary school allow us to do? I would hope it would allow us to rethink having 5th graders start middle school in Point in Sterling. 5th graders are in Point in Sterling because that is what space and facilities demand. With a new elementary school, this may not need to be the case. I would like to know, based upon the expected growth of Quincy, what the expected impact will be on our schools, and then have 3 scenarios of no impact, expected impact, and greatest impact. And know we seek to solve each of these situations and the challenges that they may bring. I would also love to see a plan that could bring all 5th graders back to elementary school and then have a debate about the merits of that plan. We are being proactive in building and developing for the Quincy we want to become. We have the chance to do the same for QPS. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to speak this evening at open forum? Seeing no one, this portion of the meeting is closed. Moving on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Christopher.
Thank you very, very much. We'll do things just a wee bit out of order, and we'll have Inspire at the end of the superintendent's report. But right now, 2 things. First, I'd like to invite Mr. Segala up to the microphone, as well as to say Laura will not be with us this evening. She chose to go to her daughter's volleyball game. Quincy High and North Quincy High play this evening. So the audio will work, and obviously we'll get the notes.
Nope.
We hope, yes.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to just begin first with just a few partnership upcoming events before we spotlight our partnership tonight. The Quincy School Community Partnership's third annual Welcome Back reception will be held tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Common Market Restaurant. The Welcome Back reception provides Quincy Public Schools administrators the opportunity to thank our community partners for their continued dedication and support throughout the year. Special thanks to Greg McDonald, owner and community business partner, for his generosity in sponsoring this event. We hope that you can join us tomorrow evening. Our next initiative is Splash, Swim, Play, Learn Aquatic Safety Habits. It's a collaboration between the Quincy School Community Partnership and the South Shore YMCA. Splash is a 6-week program for second grade students who are unable to swim. Students from Atherton Howe and Marymount Elementary Schools will begin to splash on October 17th. Special thanks to our community business partner, South Shore YMCA, for sponsoring this initiative. The annual Teacher Mini Grant Award Ceremony will be held on Thursday, November 2nd, at the Neighborhood Club in Quincy. The Quincy School Community Partnership is pleased to announce that $32,000 will once again be awarded to elementary, middle, and high school teachers thanks to the Mini Grant Initiative. Special thanks to the numerous business partners for sponsoring this event. So please save the date. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge Janice Erler, coordinator of the Quincy School Community Partnership. Janice is instrumental in the planning and implementation of many of our partnership events, as well as recruitment of new business partners. So thank you, Janice, for your leadership and for being here this evening. Lastly, it's my pleasure to welcome and recognize our friends from Boston Scientific. Joining this evening is Diana Rose.
Hey, I knew you were going to do that. No. I knew you were going to do that.
Diana Rose, excuse me.
You can sing later.
Yeah,
It's all right.
Diana is Human Resources Manager, and Peter Dope is Facilities Manager for Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific is a platinum-level sponsor of the Quincy School Community Partnership. Their generosity and support throughout the year has been incredible. Boston Scientific supports each path of partnership pathways, including financial support, student support, site support, and career connections. The students and staff of Quincy Public Schools have certainly been the benefactors of Boston Scientific's generosity. Surface Pro tablets were donated to staff and students through Boston Scientific's Technology Classroom Integration Initiative. And I can assure you that the teachers and staff at Clifton Marshall and the 32 tablets they're utilizing and enjoying very, very much. Quincy High School's electrical technology students attended Boston Scientific's Solar Energy Summit. Conference tables, office tables, and chairs have replaced furniture in school classrooms, main offices, and conference rooms. Technology labs have been updated with computer tables and chairs, and even our food service department has benefited with regional refrigerators, kitchen warmers, and ice machines. Diana serves as a member of the interviewing team, which selects Quincy High School's Outstanding Technical Student of the Year. Boston Scientific employees participate in Quincy High School's Innovative Engineers Program, and Boston Scientific employees serve as judges in our middle and high school's science and STEM fairs. And the list goes on and on. As you can see, Boston Scientific exemplifies a true community partner, and for that we are certainly so grateful. So at this time, I'm going to welcome Diana Rose.
Lucky for you, I'm not going to sing. Boston Scientific is dedicated to transforming lives through innovative medical solutions that improve the health of patients around the world. We manufacture a variety of devices, catheters, pacemakers, stents, spinal cord stimulators, and much more. At Boston Scientific, we feel it's our responsibility to act as good corporate citizens in the communities where we live and where we work. We do that through our employees. They dedicate their time and expertise in the communities where they live and work. We do it through the environment. The company strives to reduce our environmental footprint. We have 4,000 solar panels on our roof that generates about 30% of our energy consumption. Health. We want to reduce inequalities on the underserved by ensuring access to quality care and by supporting disease awareness and prevention. And of course, last but not least, education. We fuel the next generation of life science professionals by encouraging students to achieve in science, technology, engineering, and math. Boston Scientific Quincy is the primary distribution center for the company, as well as the U.S. Customer Service Call Center. We ship over 80,000 units per day to over 10,000 customers around the world. We employ close to 400 people, 140 of those people reside in Quincy. I'm actually one of those 140 and proud to call Quincy home for over 15 years. Ed Mackey, our Executive Vice President of Operations, is responsible for all manufacturing, information technology, quality, global supply chain. Quincy operation is one piece of that global supply chain, and I mention Ed because he's a graduate of Quincy Public Schools. I believe he was a red grader from North Quincy High. We are honored that we have such a strong relationship with Quincy Public Schools and look forward to its continuation. Your students are our future workforce. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, and this is Quincy Public Schools presents this certificate of recognition to Boston Scientific for your ongoing contributions, dedication, and support of the students and staff of the Quincy Public Schools as a platinum partner in the Quincy School Community Partnership. So again, we want to thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll give you this too.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, why don't we get a picture right here? Is that okay? Right up front there,
Sure.
All right. Over here, I can do front wall. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. I want to thank the Boston Scientific. We toured their new home down in the old Jordan Marsh warehouse many years ago, and it is phenomenal the work that they do and the service that they give the whole world in a sense. So we thank them for being such a great partner for us. At this time, what I'd like to do is bring up Mr. Taglieri and Mr. Shaw to introduce our new athletic directors and to say thank you for your support of the new athletic directors, one at each Quincy High School and North Quincy High School. And with that, Mr. Tag.
Good evening, Mayor Cope, Vice Chair Golden, members of the school committee, Dr. D. Just what Dr. said, just thank you so much for expanding on this position, not only for all the athletes that Mr. Shaw and I have at the school, but the implementation of the health and wellness curriculum. With all the initiatives that are going on with health and wellness and getting our athletic directors involved with all the students across the board outside of the athletes, I think is going to be terrific. Our new athletic director at Quincy High School is Kevin Mahoney. For the past 4 years, Kevin has been at Quincy High School working in our athletic department with our former AD, Pat Lane. Kevin went to Quinnipiac College, graduated from Quinnipiac, and got his master's in sports management. In the time that Kevin has been at Quincy High School, he's just built up relationships with our students, with our staff, and with our families, very important. The neatest thing about Kevin, I think, is that he really understands the role that educational athletics plays in high school and education. So he's just a terrific addition to our staff, and we're very proud to welcome him to our school community.
Kevin, want to stand up? Kevin Mahoney.
Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Jean-Jacques Niemke, JJ, as the new Athletic and Wellness Director for North Quincy High School. Mr. Niemke brings an impressive set of qualifications to this position. Graduate of Stonehill College, he has a master's degree in sports leadership from Northeastern University. He has assisted in a number of office settings, including in the QPS Transportation Office and our own NQ Athletics Office as well. He's been commissioner for the Quincy Neighborhood Basketball League, and has been on our coaching staff for NQ football. He's familiar with everything from impact testing to Aspen and up to date on all of our health and wellness initiatives that we've been working towards these last few years. Mr. Niemke also brings a unique combination of knowledge and temperament to our position of athletic director. He knows the MIAA, he knows the Patriot League, he knows the programs at NQHS, and most importantly, he knows our kids. He'll bring a lot of energy and passion to athletics at NQ, and coupled with his organizational and leadership skills, will invigorate our programs, firmly anchor athletics as a vital component of the culture in North Quincy, and continue the traditions of sportsmanship, persistence, and physical well-being that have been the hallmarks of our programs for generations. Like all of you, I look forward to working with JJ on these important issues. JJ.
Thank you.
You think you would have a red tie on?
The red tie, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These guys are way too tall.
Way too tall.
Yes, on the other side.
There you go. Congratulations, gentlemen. Also like to, I didn't hear that, it was probably good. Also like to bring up Matty Roy at this time. Speak about our new curriculum team administrator.
Yes, good evening. It's my pleasure to share an update within the Curriculum and Assessment Management team. As you know, Roberta DiTullio has taken her big smile and her skill set back to the classrooms at Clifford Marshall. And so with this open position, the superintendent's leadership team discussed where we would like to grow academically and what programs would we like to address for the students. This led us to the STEM area, where we discussed the qualities and experiences of a team member that would best support science, technology, and engineering across the district. Tonight, we are pleased to announce Ed Smith will be joining the team as Curriculum STEM Team Administrator. For the last 6 years, Ed has been the Quincy High School Science Department Chair, but you may also recognize him from a variety of other roles across the system. Some of Ed's Quincy career highlights include 17 years as a science technology teacher, 11 years as our Summer Youth Works employment program facilitator, 12 years of involvement and 6 years as program facilitator of the high school robotics program. Recently, Ed took on the responsibility of facilitating the middle school robotics program, which ensured that our students were funded and registered for the first LEGO League competitions. He also worked closely with the superintendent to create Quincy Robotics President's Cup competition for our students and families. He co-chairs the middle school, high school digital learning team, and he holds licenses in general science, technology, engineering, and secondary administration. So as you can imagine, we're very excited to have Ed bring his passion and expertise to the Curriculum and Assessment Management team. Similar to Kim and Bridget's role, he will closely collaborate with teachers, offer support and resources, strengthen the vertical pathway, provide targeted professional development, and infuse the STEM program system-wide with new and innovative ideas. So thank you for your continued support, and please join me in congratulating Mr. Smith.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ed. All of the things that you do, and you also were, still are an incredible teacher. So thank you. Thanks. Maddie, thank you.
Thank you.
A few other things, just the fourth annual City of President's 5K Run Walk was Sunday. Many of you were there, and sponsored by Mayor Koch, and there were over 750 participants ran or walked to benefit our health and wellness program, so we thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. Also in the memory, again, of Emily Zarnock. Our partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Stop and Shop, Brewster Ambulance, Urgent Care, Quincy College, Eastern Bank, and TD Bank were on board to help us financially, as well as volunteers. The Mayor's Office volunteers were there, Quincy Public Schools, Quincy School Committee, community service students, Quincy High School and North Quincy High School under Meg McMillan and Kerry Ginty, our culinary department, Jackie Niosi and Patrick Noué, along with Keith and so many of the students were there, Janice as well, of course. Quincy Police Department, Quincy Park and Recreation Department, I know I'm probably forgetting someone, but there was just so many wonderful people there to be so supportive. Mike Dracchio and Ray Papillo, some great music. James Taylor every once in a while, it's a good thing. So we appreciate it. It was a great day. It was a great day, so I thank you, Mayor, for dedicating funds to our health and wellness programs. The Quincy Arts Fest was on the 16th and 17th. Dr. Hallett helped with that from the Quincy Public Schools frame of reference, and we had 17 award winners. One Best in Show, Iris Z, a junior from North Quincy High School, won that award, so congratulations to her. And 15 of our art educators participated in collecting and mounting and framing student work. So I want to thank our art staff as well for their participation. Mark Appeal met with the Box trainers and some coordinators from the Box Foundation on September 19th to launch the fall session. The first session will be October 2nd through December 22nd, as we've done for the last 2 years. And then followed by a spring session, February 26th to June 7th, again in honor of Emily Zarnock. So I want to thank Mara for her leadership in continuing this great program for our kids at elementary and middle school. Point Webster will be having their 100th anniversary on Saturday, November 18th. Parker School will have their 100th anniversary on Saturday, May 12th. So we'll put those in your book, and hopefully you can get them, because they're pretty remarkable anniversary celebrations. And I just wanted to make sure we thank Mike Dracchio for the safety drills that he coordinates at every school on a regular, consistent basis. Again, with our partners from the Quincy Police Department, Quincy Fire Department, and Brewster, working with our principals, our assistant principals, and our teachers. They do an excellent job, and I want to thank you for that, Mike. Our Nobel Laureate program, and Ed should take some credit, Ed Smith takes some credit for that as well, with North Quincy and Quincy High School continues. North Quincy will host a Nobel Laureate, Dr. Jerome Friedman, an American physicist who won the 1990 Nobel Prize. He'll visit, he's from MIT, and he'll visit North Quincy High School and work with about 50 of our physics, junior and senior physics students. On October 12th, at Quincy High School, they will host and honor Quincy High School alumnus, a 1952 alumnus, Dr. Arthur Gossard, who happens to be the grandson of the former superintendent of schools, Dr. Paul Gossard. And he will meet with, again, juniors and seniors and physics students at Quincy High School. And he received a National Medal of Technology and Innovation from President Obama in 2016. Did his work at Harvard and UC Berkeley. So quite an honor to have him come to Quincy High School, and then Nobel Laureate to North Quincy High School. So we're going to keep that going. I think it's a great program for our students. The preliminary enrollment, again, I'll give you the enrollment figures on your next meeting, because we submit our enrollment on October 1 to the state, so we'll submit the same to you and offer the same to you as well. But at this time, the class sizes that you really make sure that we work hard to have our very, very best class sizes. 90 of our classrooms at the elementary level are 21 students or below, and 90% of them. And then at the middle school, 89% of our classes are 24 or below. And at Quincy High School and North Quincy High School, 85% are 25 or below. So we're working hard. And by our next meeting, there are a couple of high classes that we're looking at Quincy and North that we have to get down a bit. Those are usually the senior electives, where there's kind of maybe one section offered. So we need to work with that. The guidance department are working on that right now. So the other thing is the enrollment itself. You know, we're up about 164 students. I think I told you that at the last meeting. 105 of those students are at the high school level. At both schools, 54 at North Quincy High School, 51 at Quincy High School. So when we look at the enrollment, and I'll give you the trends, you know, I give you the opportunities and the challenges. You know, we'll look at some of the trends, and you know, some of the schools are down a bit, and some of the schools are up a bit. But for the most part, we have probably 4 or 5 schools that are negative double digit. You know, whether they be 14, 15, or 16 students down. And then we have one or two schools that may be up a bit in the double figures. One school in particular. So I think the trend is pretty much that flat line-ish type of thing. So we'll present it at the next meeting, and any questions you may have prior to that meeting, please, you know, feel free to give me a call. Just wanted two other things. The capital improvement plan, I want to thank Mayor Koch. I want to thank the Quincy City Council, you know, for their capital improvement plan appropriation of several $1 million for so much work on our facilities. And thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for that. And also our Public Buildings Department for playing such a critical role in keeping up the facilities in the Quincy Public Schools. There are fall and harvest festivals. Wollaston will be Saturday, October 14th, and Snug Harbor, Saturday, October 21st. It's there first. And Beechwood will be on October 28th. And lastly, I want to thank all the principals and parents and teachers that were at our open houses. There's just 1 or 2 left. I think North Quincy High School's left, as well as Beechwood. So you have that, I think, in your packet. So if you'd like to attend those, that would be great. But I think they're all wonderful, and I think parents are very appreciative of everything that's offered on those open houses. So with that, I thank you. I'm sorry, yes, Inspire. Barbara requested the Inspire, so we will have it this evening.
Everyone has a part to play in our band. Even if you start this year, you will be playing a pop song with us by the end of the year. Pretty cool, right?
Air sound. So here's just an air sound if I blow through without biting down properly. You can't really hear anything. If I put too much pressure, it might sound like this, which is not nice. But if I use the right amount of pressure, it can sound like a very beautiful instrument.
Encourage them to play soccer. It's a wonderful experience.
Playing a sport in high school, it definitely makes you more organized. You have to be like a better person when it comes to grades, and on and off the field, it definitely makes you more mature. So I think it's a plus when you play sport.
Honestly,
it's a good feeling being a leader, but at the same time, it's like a lot of responsibility. Like if you show up late to school, for instance, like you got freshmen, you got a whole bunch of kids looking up to you like, oh, maybe I could show up late, but it's not cool to show up late. So we make sure that we do our stuff and focus in school and just make sure that like everyone gets along. It's good.
Play, like if I'm playing soccer, I'm having a lot of fun, so I want to keep up my grades and do good so I can keep playing.
I just think
that we're the ones who are supposed to set the example of the team. So it's important that we take practices seriously and our game seriously, and that we be leaders for all the underclassmen.
Hello. Today we'll be introducing 3 instruments from an instrument family. Anyone knows the name of this instrument family? Yes? Violin. Yes, this is a violin. Do you know the name of the family? And which category they belong to? Yes. String family, because these instruments, they all have 4 strings. And we also have a stick, we call it a ball. But sometimes we can use our finger as well.
So I play the violin. This is the smallest of the string instruments, and it's also the highest pitch. So although it can play low like this, it can also play really high like this. Like that.
The bow, not up and down like violin. I play left to the right, like grandfather and clock.
I think that like if you are kind of unsure about joining, I would say to join. It's like a really good way to make friends, be a part of your school, and just be something more than just the classroom. Like you get to kind of showcase like your teamwork and leadership skills, and I just think it's like a really good experience to have.
I would say that it helps me manage my time because I know that if I have practice at 6, then I have to get everything done by then. And I would say on days that I don't have practice, it takes me even longer to do my work because I know that I have a whole bunch of time. But with games and practices, it really helps me with time management.
I just like all the friendships that I've made playing soccer, and how, people from all different, cultures can come together and enjoy playing one sport together.
Well, with playing soccer, you're committed to something. So, like, you always have, like, a priority to do something. You need to get something done because you know you're not going to have time. So, like, if you have soccer from 3 to 5, you go home, eat, shower, and do your homework. You're more on a scheduled day, unlike not playing or not doing anything.
And I think the equipment and the facilities here are wonderful, and the kids are really excited about getting their hands on that stuff and being able to make things and see something that they may come alive.
I've always wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to get my engineering degree and then come back to being a high school physics teacher was my original goal. But at the time, they didn't offer engineering at a high school level. So I was very excited to find an engineering teaching position at a high school level.
Starting the year is always a fun and exciting time. Students are coming back, everybody's ready to go. This year, being in a new position, I'm really excited to learn the different content and the different curriculum, as well as get to know students in the middle school level and their experience with that.
That also, I have to say that the entire school community embraces us. As soon as I walked in the door the first day, people came up to me, introduced themselves, said, "How can I help you?" I had parents coming up, running up to me and introducing themselves and saying, "We're so excited to have a librarian here full-time, and we'd like to meet you, and we want to talk to you." And the PTO has already embraced me and said, "How can we help you?" My principal, my assistant principal, all, I have to say, without a doubt, it's one of the most friendly, and I would say very genuine and a warm environment, and I can't be more happier to be there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Brian, Michaela, thank you very much for that. And Jessica, you're one of the stars of the show. You can wait and say no, thank you. At this time, we begin our program improvement, our tips presentation. First with health services and then with student support services. So whenever you're ready, Mr. Bailey.
Good evening, Mayor, Superintendent, and members of the school committee. Thank you for having me. I would like to take this time to reflect on the health services team goals during the 2016-2017 school year. Our first goal was to continue with the wellness initiatives based on the Alliance for a Healthier Generation, Healthy Schools Program framework of best practices. Each nurse was able to update their school inventory using the Alliance for a Healthier Generations assessment tool. The wellness team members at each site worked together and collaborated with the Alliance to improve their overall standards. Our second goal continued to focus on the improvement of communication between the health office and community regarding school health and safety policies. 2 years ago, the nurses designed and developed a health services page on Aspen. Last year, the page went live, and parents were able to access documents that they could view in print. These included medication forms, asthma and food allergy action plans, the wellness policy, and concussion policy, to name a few. Having access to this page can help streamline the amount of paper that goes home from the health office to the families. This page can also be used by staff and students to look at up-to-date health information, websites, and links. The high school nurses also, along with the health interventionists, implemented programs for the students to participate in. I'd like to mention just 2 of these. The first is the January Substance Abuse Awareness Presentation. Related school-wide activities were fostered to create social media campaigns by students, for students, to promote healthy choices and resist drugs and alcohol abuse. Last year, the contest was to design a t-shirt that promoted safe decision-making. Students were eligible to win a cash prize for the winning design. The second initiative, Pay It Forward, is a peer leader training program. Workshops took place throughout the year, and students who participated were trained as mentors for incoming 9th graders. These workshops helped the students gain skills in aiding other teens to cope with everyday problems and pressures. This was a huge success. As we transition into the 2017-2018 school year, our goals will be an extension of last year's goals. We will work again with the Alliance for a Healthy Generation, Healthy Schools program. Although our contract concluded with the Alliance in June of 2016, we still maintain a partnership with them online for support and assistance with this program. Each nurse will collaborate with the wellness team members in their buildings to revise their school's inventory using the assessment tool by the Alliance. With last year being our first year that students and parents had access to the health services page on Aspen, the nurses will maintain and update their individual health services page throughout the year. Our goal is to improve communication between the health office and community regarding school health and safety policy, as well as to increase the number of views from students and parents. I'd like to mention the Health, Nutrition, and Wellness Advisory Council. Our goal remains constant, and that is to review the Quincy Public Schools wellness policy, as well as to participate in the Alliance for Healthier Generation, Healthy Schools program, promoting school wellness in the 2017-18 school year. The Advisory Council provides guidance and support to individual school wellness teams throughout the year. The nurses will participate in 5 professional developments that are concentrated on increasing nursing skills and knowledge. Training will focus on school emergency bag. We will collaborate with school health supplies to assess what medical supplies the nurse should have access to if there were ever an emergency in the building. No such thing as a bad kid. A presentation by Charles Applestein will focus on understanding and responding to the challenging behavior of youth. Mindful presence. A presentation by Christine O'Shaughnessy focusing on the full awareness of our actions, thoughts, feelings, surroundings, and interactions in each moment. And finally, the Quincy Public Schools Health and Wellness Symposium on October 18th and May 23rd. We'll be teaming up with our newest partner, South Shore Hospital. Now I would just like to share some data from our 2016-17 Essential School Health Services End of the Year report. Last year, school nurses documented over 88,000 student encounters. They cared for over 2,200 students with special health care needs. Students' return to class rate after a visit to the health office remained in the 93rd percentile, demonstrating the impact that the school nurse has on keeping the students in school. Last year, we reported 43 diagnosed head injuries occurring during school sport activities and 19 occurring during extracurricular activities outside of school. School nurses work closely with students who have been diagnosed with a concussion. They collaborate with the student, parents, primary care providers, and school staff to monitor the medical management of the students and work with staff to adjust their academic schedules as necessary. There were over 9,000 scheduled doses of medication administered, 2,900 PRN doses administered per prescription. There were 17,000 documented nursing communications to parents and guardians regarding students' health issues.
and nursing staff who are CPR instructors continue to offer CPR AED classes to our staff, and last year we certified 167 staff members. One of our most successful health initiatives is a matter of heart. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the school committee members for their foresight and support in making this happen. I would also like to thank another one of our community partners, Bruce Ambulance, for their role in this amazing program. This will be the 4th year all 8th grade middle school students will participate in this program. As of today, as many as 2,000 students have been taught hands-only CPR. And over 300 students and family members participated in the American Heart Association full certification class. The CPR AED certification expires after 2 years. So last year, we followed up with the first group of students who would have been in the 10th grade and offered them the chance to recertify. We had a great turnout, and they were extremely happy to have this program continue. We continue to collaborate with the Department of Public Health Oral Health Unit. Dental screenings and sealants are offered to students in preschool, kindergarten, grade 2, 6, 8, and 9. These screenings have already started in our school, and there's no cost to the families. This year, we piloted another in-school dental program called Big Smiles. This dental program provides oral health to children who may not regularly see a dentist. Licensed dentists and dental assistants perform all the necessary treatment and care. I would now like to turn this over to Georgie Sullivan, the nurse at the Clifton Marshall School, who was brave enough to undertake this venture the 2nd week of school. Georgie?
Thank you, Rita. Good evening, everyone. I am here to tell you about the Massachusetts SMILE program that we did pilot at Clifton Marshall, where dental health leads to tooth loss, tooth decay, gum disease, speech impairments, and eventually can lead to heart disease. Taking care of teeth is a very important part of keeping our children healthy. But you can see on the graphic, for every Mass Health student at school, 44% are regularly seen by a dentist, but that means that 56% of them are not seen regularly by a dentist or at all. And of those 56%, 60% of them have cavities and are not being treated. While the DPH program that we have currently in Quincy is very effective, they come, they clean the teeth, they place fluoride, they place sealants on all the students. It became apparent to me that most of my students lacked that critical step of seeing the dentist. They would get a referral home that they needed to see the dentist, but they would not go to the dentist. So this was a problem, and I brought it to Rita, and we discussed it. And thanks to Rita Bailey, our fearless nurse leader, she investigated and found the SMILE Massachusetts dental program. Of the 70 students that I had last year in 2016, 17. I had 70 students that we referred from the hygienist now. This is from the hygienist. We referred 70 students out to dentists, and only four papers came back, which was very sad to me. So we need this program. SMILE Massachusetts is a school-based dental comprehensive program. They come to school, they offer dental cleanings, like the hygienist. They offer sealants, but what they offer in addition is they do x-rays right at school. They also do fillings. They have a dentist that comes with them and provides the care at school. So they do fillings, and if needed, they even do extractions, which is amazing. So how does this work? We met with SMILE Massachusetts in the spring of 17, and with the support of my building principal, Mr. Ahern, we were able to offer this program early this fall. So on the first day of school, we sent home all of the paperwork that was needed, and we asked for a 2-day turnaround. So we sent it home on Wednesday, the first day of school, and by Friday I wanted it back. And we got 80 forms back, which is wonderful. We were very happy for a first-time effort. And then on Monday, September 11th, the dentist, the hygienist, and the assistant rolled into school. They set up in the gymnasium, well not gymnasium, the cafeteria on the stage, which was private. And they had state-of-the-art equipment, as you can see. They had the x-ray machine, which they called their laser gun. The kids loved it. They said that they were superheroes, and they were going to laser their mouth to see their teeth. So, and then they would show the children their teeth on the computer, and they would show them the cavities. And then Dr. Barris, who was wonderful, would sit them in the chair and do any work that they needed. So I thought I would just give you a snapshot of one student. This is Ved, and I do have permission from Mom and Dad to show Ved tonight. Ved is an adorable kindergartner. Now, if you can imagine, this is Ved's third day of school, ever. Third day of school, he's 5 years old, new teacher, new students, new friends, new building, and we're bringing him in to see the dentist. So, how scary that must have been for him, and yet he was smiling. So, he came in, and Heidi, who's the hygienist on the left, did her superhero thing, and he loved it. He let her take the pictures of his teeth. They did find some cavities. Dr. Barris was wonderful. He put him in the chair, and I don't know if you can see his face, a little apprehensive, as you would assume. But for 5 years old, he did great. They filled his cavities, and within 30 minutes, he's smiling and back to class. And that's another point that I'd like to make. When children go to the dentist, they can miss sometimes a whole day of school, with their parents missing a whole day of work to go to the dentist. Sometimes a half a day, but they're both missing school and work. Ved only missed 30 minutes and was back to class. At the end of the visit, they complete, At the end of the visit, they complete a detailed parent report, and they send this home with any recommendations. They tell the parents what they've done, the cavities they've filled, and there's a little section for the next steps. Should you see an oral surgeon, should you see an orthodontist, periodontist, whatever needs to be seen for the parents. So, I am happy to report it was so successful. We saw 75 students, and of those 75 students, 54 sealants were placed. This is my favorite number to say. 79 fillings were done. 100% of the student need was met. Their dental needs were met. And they were met while decreasing their time away from learning in school, because they were only out of the class for 30 minutes. We actually, I did too. They actually did 3 extractions, which I was like, you took 3 teeth out. So, but they did, no tears. I did not see one student that day from the dentist. It was excellent. So we have invited Smile Massachusetts back into Clifford Marshall in the spring of 18, and we're going to do it again, and we expect a higher student participation. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgie. Georgie's an amazing nurse down there at Clifford Marshall School. I just have that much respect for her. Thank you so much. Okay, so Quincy Public Schools hosted its 3rd Health and Wellness Symposium on June 7, 2016. During the session, one of our community partners, Stop and Shop, provided their expertise on health nutritional habits, and Dr. Kim presented legalization of marijuana and the community impact. This was an extremely informative session, which tied to the many substance abuse programs that are offered at both the middle and high school level. The wellness team members were also able to celebrate the accomplishments that took place in their building, as well as share ideas, programs, and activities with other school wellness teams. Quincy Public Schools would like to welcome Social Hospital as one of our newest community partners. Social Hospital will present at the Health and Wellness Symposium on October 18th, and then again for a follow-up meeting on May 23rd. In collaboration with Social Hospital, we designed and developed a health and wellness pre-symposium survey for our wellness team members. This survey allowed the wellness team members to examine the many different programs Social Hospital has to offer, and the results of the top 3 areas of interest were the role of nutrition in the setting of cancer, cancer prevention, heart health, diabetes, obesity, nutrition, and lifestyle, athletic concussion awareness program for parents, students, and teachers, and parent-faculty education related to substance abuse in young people. Social Hospital is willing to tailor and present all of their programs to students, parents, and staff during the school day, after school, or in the evening. Here to speak to this is Jen Crows, Executive Director of Cancer Center, Dana-Farber Brigham and Women's Cancer Center, in clinical affiliation with Social Hospital.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. So we began a discussion with Quincy a couple of years ago when we offered some educational programs through Rita to the teachers and staff. And we had a very good experience coming out to talk about nutrition and prevention in the setting of all different types of daily activities, lifestyles, or disease prevention. That worked out very well. And we've continued our relationship with the schools and are very happy to do so. I work at the Cancer Center as the Executive Director, and I'm also the Service Line Director for Cancer at Social Hospital. So a lot of our focus that I see every day is cancer. However, we've been coming to you in partnership from the entire South Shore Health System and Social Hospital proper. So not so cancer focused, but more in a realm of addressing the areas that you would like to see addressed in terms of the 3 interest areas based on the survey, which are nutrition, sports injury prevention, and substance abuse prevention in youth. So we'll be coming out to the schools to do programs in those areas this year, and we'll be working with Rita and her staff. And as well, part of the partnership we're looking forward to is having the students also come out to South Shore Hospital so we can enrich their experience and provide them with some classroom setting education, having doctors lead some talks, and as well physical therapists and nurses in any of the areas that we think with Keith Sabella and his team identifying those interest areas for the high school students. So we very much look forward to that partnership, and thank you for allowing us the pleasure of doing so, and we look forward to a very long collaborative relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jen. We're really looking forward to working with you. And just a couple of things that Jen had mentioned. In addition to supporting the health and wellness initiatives, South Shore Hospital is taking into consideration some of these following student support activities: career and technical education health and wellness fair, career and technical education program advisory membership, healthcare technology for both Quincy High School and North Quincy High School, series of on-site training opportunities for the healthcare technology, again at both high schools, and participation in the QPS Student Athlete Summit. And that's the end. Any questions or anything? Okay.
Any questions?
So now I'm going to turn it over to Senior Director Mark Hill. Oh, sorry.
I know, a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, we had the eyeglass.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that still ongoing?
You
or is
know,
that-
we did use the Vision Mobile last year, and unfortunately, they decommissioned the band, and they're looking towards something else. So we had, again, Marshall, another pilot at that school, and we probably had over 50 to 65 students who got eyeglasses. But unfortunately, that they did decommission. We were supposed to have them, we actually had them scheduled to come in September and at Lincoln in November, and I got word that they just decommissioned. So, but we're always looking for other options, so I'm sure there's something else out there that we'll find.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see you all, and it's my pleasure to present to you the Student Support Services Program Improvement Plan. And I am so fortunate to have Caitlin Plaskovitas and Don Sauter here to present with me tonight. Caitlin Plaskovitas is a middle school health educator who you've seen before. She's from Central Middle School, and Don Sauter is a DARE officer at the elementary level. So thank you very much for helping me tonight. Just a quick reminder about who is in Student Support Services. I know you all read my program improvement plan, and I really appreciate that. I don't think that was easy reading. But my program includes guidance counselors at all levels, school psychologists at all levels, the health educators, health interventionists, physical education educators, the homeless coordinator, and the supervisors of attendance. I'm going to review my PIP and review the goals, but I'm going to do it through the professional development in the programs and the initiatives, so you get a sense of the content. So I'm going to try to give you content. But first, I'd like to review the PBIS framework, since many of the district efforts for improving student behavior and academic success is done through this framework. PBS, or Positive Behavior Interventions and Support, is a system of evidence-based strategies and systems to assist schools to increase academic performance, increase safety, decrease problematic behavior, and increase positive school culture. The big ideas behind PBIS are that it provides a process for children to learn appropriate behavior and providing supports necessary to sustain that behavior. PBIS is not a curriculum, it's a framework for systems to identify needs, develop strategies, and evaluate practice towards success. Why a school approach? Well, actually, in Quincy, PBIS is a district approach.
PBIS allows for encouraging positive school engagement and behavior through proactive, positive, and consistent manner across school settings and improves academic achievement and social competencies. This is a visual representation of the intervention, the Tier 1 interventions. You've heard me say this before, the universal interventions are done in all settings for all students across the site and system. They're meant to be preventative and proactive. So if you remember Lincoln Hancock's acronym PRIDE, perseverance, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence, that is taught. So what does that look like in the classroom? What does that look like in the hallway? What does that look like in the lunchroom? So that would be a Tier 1 intervention. The Tier 2 interventions are those areas where kids might be a little too loud, a little too rowdy in the lunchroom. So what do? We create an intervention around there. Maybe we increase staff supervision, maybe we reteach the expected behavior, so we look at those kinds of interventions. And Tier 3 interventions are targeted towards those students that are struggling the most. In 2016 and in 2017 for elementary, middle, and high school guidance staff and school psychologists, the interventions and the initiatives and goals were targeted to building and sustaining either PBIS implementation, diversity competency, and college and career readiness. We designed SAT, ACT, and we're continuing to build upon those initiatives and those implementations by professional development to give content, like I said earlier, to the PBIS initiative. So what are we teaching? Rebecca Fidler came before you and discussed how she collaborated with us, and we're bringing her back from Bay State Community Services. She worked with the high school counselors, the deans, and the health interventions to create small group interventions for kids that might need a little more support around substance use prevention. This year, she's going to be working with the health educators, the elementary and middle school guidance counselors to help them create peer leadership interventions. So she's going to train the trainers, in a sense, and so she'll be training the elementary and the guidance staff and the middle school guidance staff and the health educators about how to engage kids so that they can teach the prevention to, like 8th graders will teach 6th graders. So we really feel like those peer-led initiatives are the most effective initiatives. So we're going to build some competency in our peer leadership groups. So that's what she's going to focus on. So she'll do in January a large-scale kind of professional development, and then she'll go give site support. So to really tailor it to each site. So she'll help, be working with the student leaders and the counselors and the health educators in that site. Really excited about that. Just a great example of the peer leadership and how that works and how prevention works with peer leaders. I thought I'd just bring up for you the SAD chapter that was done at Central Middle School. Caitlin Plaskovitas worked with Kathy Mahoney to create the SAD chapter. That was the first one in our middle schools. And this year, each middle school will have its own SAD chapter. And you can see by the mission of the SAD chapters, how it fits into a PBIS model that we're teaching and empowering kids to mobilize. So it's really a great vehicle for kids to intervene at their sites. The seatbelt safety presentation by 8th grade, so the 8th graders last year went in, they did like assemblies, grade level assemblies to their peers about safety. And then they actually held signs at drop-off, so parents would pull up with their kids, so their kids would be in the car with the parents, they'd see the 8th graders holding the signs. So it made it okay to wear your seatbelt, that's a good thing. It's a very powerful message, very different from, one of us telling one of our kids, put your seatbelt on. It just means so much more. So with that, I thought what we could do this year, and speaking with the superintendent and others about what can we do at the elementary level. So we're so fortunate to have John Sauter as our DARE officer. He's done a phenomenal job. We really want to work more closely with the DARE officers at the elementary level. So I'm going to let John Sauter come up here and present to you the DARE curriculum.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate when you asking me to come along. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview on what we do with our DARE programs in 5th and 7th grade. It's nice to see one of my former students over there. Hope you'll pay attention to them too. So I will say real quick that you heard about the laser work in the Dennis. I don't do that in the elementary school. It stays in the holster just in case anyone wants to know. But just a few years ago, I was here with you guys talking about a new curriculum we were starting with DARE. DARE kind of enhanced their curriculums a few years ago, and it's now called Keeping It Real DARE. And it's a lot more life skills based. It still has a lot of the drug and alcohol prevention in it, which is very important. But it's moved into more of a life skills area where it talks about a lot more about decision making and lots of aspects of your life. And the curriculum is very well done. I teach about 15 lessons in the 5th grade program, and Officer John Grazioso teaches close to 10 lessons in the 7th grade program for all the middle schools and all the elementary schools in Quincy. So throughout the year, I spend time in about 5 or 6 during the first part of the year, and then the rest of the year I start that February and complete the rest of the program. It's been a wonderful program. I've enjoyed it very much. It's something that I think will go right along with what we're talking with Maura and some of the, I was talking to Dr. Dieter's office not too long ago about trying to work with the health programs and some of the guidance and trying to work together to kind of see what each other are doing. I think sometimes we do our thing and everybody else is doing their thing too. We're all headed in the right direction, as you said. But we're going to try to do some more work together. We just recently had a marijuana prevention online training that we, Officer John and I also attended with the health instructors to see what they're trying to learn about and what we can do a little better with marijuana information. DARE, right now in our programs, doesn't have a particular lesson we were doing with that. I've been pulling some information from other sources, but they've been hesitant to put a lot out in paper because of a lot of the marijuana people, obviously, different states are legalizing it, and there's been discussions about medical marijuana. There's so much to talk about. They haven't put a lot of information out, and so we're working on trying to put some more information out together. And I've been doing some things already, but it'll be nice to see what we can do with the prevention training we just had recently. So I'm excited about that. We've also kind of worked with, we're trying to work with middle school vertical teaming also, and work in the 7th grade and also try to see what we can do with the guidance and health instructors there. We'll be trying to attend some things. Officer John and I will try to get to some of the health initiatives, health fairs. I've done that already a few times. I'm going to try to do that as well. We're going to try to work with the Healthy Choices Family Night if we can as well. Officer John and I go do parent programs all throughout the year, and we want to keep doing that. I think it's really important that we engage parents too. It's not just enough to talk to the students. I think we want to get parents involved as well, so we do some of that. In our program in the summer, you've probably heard about, we just completed our last program in July recently. It was a wonderful 2 weeks, had about 105 students in our camp, as well as about 30 high school students that helped us. And talking about peer leadership, they helped us also with our camp. We had about 30 students that were working with the younger students as well as Officer John and I. So they get to see, the younger students there get to see some really quality students that are, you saw some of the athletes earlier. We actually had a couple people in your slides that were part of our camp this summer, which I really appreciate. So I'm sorry the pictures are gone, but that's okay. We saw a couple pictures, that's fine. So I'm excited about the work I can do. I know that there's a lot to be done. I will tell you, DARE is, I just looked at the website recently, DARE.org has a really good website to go to. And they have some information in 2018 that they're going to be doing some lessons regarding opiates. And so I know that's been a discussion and certainly coming up a lot. I do talk a little bit about that in the curriculum, but we don't have specific lessons on that. And DARE is working on some that will be out in 2018. So I'll be talking more to you guys about that when that comes out. So I guess I'm excited to work as much as I can with the team here. And our whole focus is to work on prevention and to help young people. I guess the slogan Officer John and I use a lot is to help the kids be too smart to start. And so, because when they do start, it's a real slippery slope and it can lead to a lot of problems in people's lives and lost opportunities and problems in their families. So I'm happy to be a part of the team. If you guys have any questions, I'll take them about what we're doing with DARE.
I'll just say thank you to you, but just a thank you to you and John, for the incredible work that you do. You touch so many lives, and there's really no measurement of it, when you see, the little care and you see so many other students that you have gone through your program around the city. I think you should be incredibly proud. And I thank also Chief Keenan for that, Pat Glenn for that, and of course you and John. So thank you.
Very well. Thanks a lot for having me. Oh, and I'm sorry, Caitlin's not going to come up and talk. I was going to pronounce your last name, but I just come up and talk about middle school. Oh, question? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You save it later.
I can save it for later.
You sure?
I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Our
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you to Mara for inviting me here tonight to share about our recent professional development on marijuana, specifically about teaching marijuana prevention. I speak on behalf of myself and my fellow health teachers, health interventionists, high school nurses, and the DARE officers because we feel so much support from you, Mara, Superintendent, Mayor Koch, and the school committee. And we're getting so much support, and it's really excellent. Mara is always asking us what professional development we need to continue to support our students, and it became very clear last year with the passing of the legalization of recreational use of marijuana and with the dispensary in Quincy that we needed more support when it came to marijuana education. There's so much to know, and it's hard to stay on track of it. So we're getting bombarded with information. Kids are getting bombarded by information, and it seems like a cliche or a funny pun, but like they have to weed their way through it. And we're all weeding our way through it together. And so this training came along, this training opportunity. I've talked to you guys before, and I want to talk to you guys before about our life skills curriculum that we've been using in our classroom. And this life skills curriculum now has professional development for us as educators. And so last week, stepped right into the school year, into professional development. It was a 3-part series. The first part was one 60 to 90 minute, it was internet-based, and then we also could call, like we were live chatting on our microphone devices and whatever, all that good stuff. So that was the first piece. That was on Tuesday, and then we had a couple of days we completed some coursework outside of that, and then on Friday we had another 2-hour meeting together online. And the amount of information is just amazing, and the amount of questions that I had that I didn't even know I had until I was learning some of the stuff. It makes you realize like how hard it is to teach it if you're trying to figure it out yourself. And our instructor was fantastic. She had a lot of knowledge. We still have access to her. So as we continue to collaborate with DARE, with the nurses, with the other health teachers, we can still ask those questions. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea. Right, so as you're all probably aware of the legalization of medical marijuana in 2012 and the legalization of marijuana for recreational purposes in 2016, the trends have shifted. The perceived risk of marijuana has decreased significantly, while the potency of marijuana has increased drastically. And at the same time, access to marijuana is now easier than ever. Our students are influenced by a lot of pro-marijuana propaganda. Songs they listen to, the celebrities they follow, television shows, movies, their own family members, and of course their friends. We've never felt it's our position to tell them what to do. We want to educate them, we want to give them the knowledge, provide them with the facts and data, and have these real conversations with them because they have ideas and they need to talk. They need to get it out, and they need a safe place and someone who understands it. As you guys know, the legislature is fixing it and doing all the stuff that should be ready to go for recreational use come 2018. And kids think you hear legalized and that means like it's, you can walk around doing whatever you want, and they really need to understand what legalized means. It's just like alcohol is legalized for 21 and over, that's the same idea with marijuana. So safe and safe for them are two different things. As educators, this is a big target of kind of like the need. So as educators, we need to understand the chemical makeup of the drug, the different forms that it comes in, the difference between medicinal marijuana and recreational marijuana, which I just thought was all the same, but it's not. It all comes back to the chemicals. And we need access to the resources to keep us up to date on trends and current information surrounding the law. You need to know how the teenage brain develops and how marijuana specifically affects brain development. And with all that knowledge, we need the tools to be able to navigate our classrooms and have these conversations. To give you an idea about some of the takeaways from our training, she talked early on about the challenges that we face, which is perception of harm, social norms, medicinal versus recreational, disputed facts, legal status, and then of course our own personal beliefs. And then we took away, I can share this with you as well, some teaching strategies to obviously like set the example in the classroom, requiring students to support positions using credible sources, asking for clarification or deeper explanation instead of them just saying, I heard, well, where did you hear that and how did you hear that and where does this knowledge come from? Because sometimes I do worry in my own class, like
kid goes home and says, Miss P said this, I'm like, I didn't say that, another student said that. That did not come out of my mouth. So it's important because they're educating each other in our classrooms as well. It's not just on the teacher and you're the student, we're all educating each other. And then obviously to respond in a way that keeps the conversation going and moving forward rather than just cutting it off. And she did provide us with a number of different classroom activity ideas. I'm not going to go through all of them, but like a personal reasons web of just kind of like a ball of yarn type game, but why you wouldn't and what the consequences would be in the web that you weave when you make a decision for yourself. And then I think a really big important one is, because I think a lot of us are well versed in this, is big cannabis versus big tobacco, and comparing and contrasting the marketing techniques used by tobacco that is now being used by the marijuana industry. Like I said, I could go on. It was a 5-hour educational briefing, but I want you guys to know that I feel like you guys are supporting us and we're getting this information and our kids are getting this information. This training was exactly what we needed. A facilitator, like I said, very knowledgeable, and all of us, we met on Tuesday about something different, but the buzz was going. We were all talking about it. We couldn't wait to get together and kind of collaborate on some like classroom lessons ideas, and we're very excited to be partnered with the DARE program, Officer Dawn in our schools as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions and share the information from the summary that was sent to us.
As you can see, I'm lucky to have such great collaboration and people in the buildings that care about their kids and care about their subject matter, so they've done a beautiful job. So I'm going to move to another initiative, and that is PBIS, the PBIS framework, diversity and respect. That is in its third year, so we've had a couple of years of the diversity and respect training through Visions. Teaching pro-social skills is a significant part of the Tier 1 intervention that I talked to you about a little bit earlier. And last year, the Visions worked with student leadership groups at the high school, and they'll continue working with the student leadership groups at the high school. But they also worked with the department heads and the teaching staff at both high schools and Sterling and Point Webster middle schools. So this year, similar to what Rebecca Fiddler is doing with substance abuse training, yesterday, we had a professional development with the elementary guidance counselors, the middle school, and the health educators. And that was with Dr. Rick Hughes from Visions. He went over the guidelines, the Vision guidelines, and gave some strategies and techniques and activities that people can bring back and use with their peer leaders. So again, we're teaching the PBIS framework and initiatives through diversity and respect. So what does that look like across culture, across race, across gender? So I have a little clip for you that we'll play so that you can kind of get a sense of what happens.
I'm really excited to be here. I've been enjoying coming to both high schools and engaging both with the faculty, staff, and the students. Been working with the student leaders as well. So based on my understanding that this is about how do we improve students' behavior, both interpersonally as well as perhaps with you all and with the teachers, there's an activity that I want you to go through that I'm inviting you to consider having the young people go through as a way for them to get to know each other as well as learn how to engage and listen to each other. And that leads me to the comment that I wanted to make around it's really important for young people, and I may be preaching to the choir here, for young people to be able to be active with each other in order for them to learn how to engage with each other and do it respectfully. It's hard to just treat each other with respect and feel like that gets in. Having them practice is really, I think, imperative to their learning. It's yet another dimension that enhances, that kind of solidifies some of the understanding and learning that can go on. For me, personally, I'm still dealing with, I need to do it in order to feel it. So some of us may be different in that way. thinking, feeling, doing. There may be 3 different dimensions in which we all can learn, and I think that young people often have a doing aspect of taking in information. So, it's okay to disagree? Easy enough, right? I used to say those words when I wanted to walk away from a conversation. This is not about that. This is about staying engaged in the conversation, because if I do so, I'm more likely to understand or come to understand how you think, and how you come to that thought. What experiences you may have had that has you having that perspective. It may be good learning for me if I stay engaged in that conversation long enough for that. Yes, there are times when it's important for us to say, okay, this is not working for me. I think we need to walk away from this conversation. And if I stay a little bit longer, I can really understand more. That being said, how we disagree is really important. So it's not okay to blame, shame, attack ourselves or others. I also think that we're going to make mistakes, particularly across difference, whether it's age, race, gender, class, sexual orientation, etc. We are going to make mistakes. We can't possibly know everything about everybody, such that we can engage with such confidence that we're not going to make a mistake. And so this is about letting go of that.
So he was really good about going over those guidelines, and those social competencies and those pro-social skills really matter, and they matter at each level, the elementary, middle, and high school level. Last year, what did that look like for the high school kids? Well, those leadership groups, the ROTC, the SAD kids, the government, student government, and the EL student leaders participated in that Visions Inc. Training. They did kindness challenges, so they did these kindness campaigns around the high schools. They did mix-it-up lunch days. They're planning a field day. So I just can't maybe describe enough what that's done to the culture and how kids are learning about each other and relating to one another, and how that's made a difference. I'm really happy for that support. The next initiative I'm going to talk about is the Blue Cross Blue Shield. That was supported by Mayor Koch's office in Children's Hospital. And Blue Cross Blue Shield has funded that collaboration for us. That is through the CESA program with Dr. Harris. So we had our first planning meeting about that. And so the science department heads from each high school were there. The high school principals were there. I was there. You're not going to see me in the film. I came a little late. But Laura Martin, the substance use coordinator, was there. Rita was there. And so I'm going to play a little clip of that so you can see where we're going with that initiative.
I am happy to be here, and this is a little bit of an innovation, how to increase the dosage of substance use prevention education that students get by bringing more of this kind of material into academic classes, sort of slipping it in other interesting ways. And science is kind of the natural, place. And it started with a conversation that I had with a biology teacher who is a friend of mine, and talking about, and this was back in the early 2000s, where we were talking, and I was asking about, what are your students learning about the brain? This was a time when there was just this, big growth of brain imaging research. And we were starting to learn really cool things about the adolescent brain. And I was asking him, so, are you bringing this into, your teaching? And he said, no. And so we started to kind of do research. I started to do research to see, what there might be available to bring into high school curriculum. And it turned out that the National Institute on Drug Abuse had started to do this whole science education campaign, and bringing materials, creating materials that then they make available for free, so that people can choose to teach it in schools or teach parents, students, etc. So that's how this all started, and I got a small grant, an internal grant from Boston Children's to run a pilot study with 2 high schools. Using one of the curricula that was developed by NIDA. And so, you know, and I very much did this in partnership with the science faculty because I'm not a science teacher. You know, I'm not up on the latest, you know, sort of national standards for science education. So, you know, I knew that this wasn't something that, you know, like the principal could just come in and say, here, you gotta teach this. It had to be, you know, is this something that can be worked in that is in keeping with the science education standards and, you know, that science teachers feel like, you know, is not just a distraction, but really a contribution as educators. So, so that's how, so we, you know, kind of worked together to create a lesson plan. And then the science teachers, you know, implemented the lesson plan and then had, I sort of debrief them after their experience to find out, you know, what they thought about it, like what worked, what didn't work. And that was back in 2007. I think there's a lot of interest here, and potentially, you know, this is a real opportunity for kind of integration between health and science, which I think, you know, from my perspective, coming from, you know, public health and medicine, that's exactly where we want to go with our young people.
So she's phenomenal, she's a genius, and Rita did mention that we were at the health symposium when she presented to us, but I think we got a little lost, because she's so much smarter than me, I have to say. I won't speak for anybody else, especially the superintendent, I'm sure he was right there with her. She lost me. Yesterday, some of our SAD representatives were asked to attend South Shore Facts, which is through South Shore Hospital, and they invite SAD chapters from surrounding communities to come and to present to them. Well, not only were SAD members invited to go, they were asked to serve on the panel. And representatives from North Quincy High School SAD chapter served on that panel. And Lizzie DiMatteo, grade 12, was there. Abby Gilmartin, grade 11, and Aiden Mortis, grade 11, was there. Lizzie DiMatteo was also recognized for her work last year. She worked weekends. Kristen Houlihan reports she was her go-to person. She worked after school, early in the morning, and she's got some big ideas for this year. So we'll be hearing a lot from the SAD chapter at both high schools. So that was a good experience for those kids, and they did a beautiful job at the panel. I'm just going to move to the high school guidance counselors and school psychologists, and their goals this year are really going to be focused on barriers for kids that are at risk for dropout. So we're looking at data, and we're seeing, you know, what kids could really benefit from credit recovery. And those 9th graders that didn't have great success there, you know, during the 9th grade year, how can we, and we did some work over the summer actually for credit recovery for those kids to make sure that they were on track. So we're trying earlier interventions. We're looking at issues connected to maybe anxiety, some kids that are feeling anxious. How can we really intervene on behalf of those children too? So we're going to do some professional development with that issue too. They're also connecting with Year Up, and that also was another collaboration through the mayor's office, where students who really should be going to college, but for some reason something has happened in their life, so they might have to put that off for a year. So Year Up will get them into the workforce, maybe at State Street, and get a paid position there, really prepare them to see what they might like in that area, or they might help them in another skill set, and then pay for their first year of college when they're ready to go. So it's a really great resource for those kids that really should be going and just had something happen. So we're excited about that. So we're trying different things. We're going to community resources, so the high school people are on that. For the goals for physical education team, you know, it's funny, I read some articles in Time Magazine over the summer that looked at the benefits of analyzing the research. And there were some interesting considerations. And I think we kind of know this already just from our own maybe personal experiences. I don't want to speak for everybody, but humans are notoriously bad at doing things that are good for them if they feel like it's a chore. So really kind of pointing out what the rewards are. So like vague statements about it's just good for you, you should do it, it's good for your heart, they're just not powerful enough. So we really need, as a team, as a physical education, and the physical educator already knows, that we really need to make it more enticing for kids, to really show them those real and measurable results and benefits from exercise. So they want to make it accessible, because what's happened is regular exercise is kind of reserved for like the elite athletes, those kids that are playing in club sports or organized sports. Meanwhile, there is a whole bunch of kids that don't get enough exercise each day. So some physical educations have already started to do this. And how do you make this accessible? What can you show kids during class time that they can do at home, so that they don't have to buy equipment, they don't have to join an expensive gym? And how do you give this message to families? So they're going to be communicating out to families. Some of the surprising benefits from exercise is that it might help your brain, more oxygen to the brain. It's like literal, it really helps your brain. You might be a little happier if it impacts your mood. It makes you age slower. I like that one in particular. It'll make your skin look better. Amazing things can happen in just a few minutes, and it can help you recover from a major illness. So, just kind of looking at the research, trying to make it real and accessible for kids and families is what they're going to focus on. To give you a sense of what's happened so far this year on student support, we met around our goals on September 5th. So each team has their goals, which you read. We did the online marijuana prevention that Caitlin talked about. We did a box lunch. We did an executive functioning professional development to support academic success, and we partnered with curriculum and special education to do that. We did the planning meeting with Dr. Harris, Visions Inc. professional development. The freshman orientations and mentor meetings are key, and those things have happened. Senior college essay writing workshops have been offered, back to school nights, college information nights, just to give you a sense of how we've started the year and where we're going. And lastly, I would like to thank all the generous donors for the program in student support. The Royal Masonic Lodge is just phenomenal, and they have been for years to me. David Smith just says, what do you need and what would you like to do? And so they're supporting the Visions Inc. and the PBIS initiatives. The Thompson family, about $28,000 worth of programming for substance use prevention without any questions asked. Blue Cross Blue Shield through the Mayor's collaboration, that's Dr. Harris curriculum. The Mayor's Wellness Fund, which we greatly appreciate, that supports all the initiatives for the Substance Use Prevention Week. So I just wanted to make sure people knew that we get a lot of money to do a lot of great things, and I'm very, very grateful. And that concludes my presentation. So if you have any questions or concerns?
Any questions? Mrs. Lebo.
A couple of comments and a couple of questions on
Sure.
the plan.
Okay.
First of all, I think this is an incredible presentation between the dear officer and health interventionist and the stuff that's going on across the city, across the school district. I can't imagine anybody getting more positively involved in this issue than you folks are, so I want to thank you for that. So that's the first thing I want to say. I have a couple of questions about the plan.
Okay, sure.
So I'm looking at the high school guidance counselors provided information last year. I'm sorry, it is on page 10. On page 10 of the program improvement plan.
Okay.
That they offered some help for the students on the new SAT, ACT. And in your evaluation of the goal, you said you did a post-test on the students to see if they understood the changes. I'd like to see a post-test to see how the students are doing on the SATs.
Sure.
So I think we're going to be getting that soon anyway, but I think that would be a little bit more realistic than when they do the changes. Could they still perform as well as they had been is one of my questions.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
So I think just when you
Yep.
look at that,
Yep.
the other thing on the credit recovery goal that's on a page, not on a page number, I'm sorry. So that was last year's goal, and this is this year's goal on the credit recovery. I just want to make sure that you're working with QEA on that, and make sure that if kids are taking courses in credit recovery, that there's some supervision around that. I think it's a wonderful thing to offer, but I just want to make sure that there's a licensed teacher involved somewhere in the process. Okay, so I'm sure you're working with Lauren. My third question is, and this is really not a question at all, I'm very interested in seeing how the supervising of attendance are doing.
Okay.
Not so much on the district part, but on the attendance part. Could we someday maybe get a presentation from them?
Sure.
Just a small one at some point in time? And then I have one last question on the profile.
Okay.
The profile, thank you for this, the data on the profile, but I'm wondering if in the profile, I could be wrong, so I'd love some discussion about this, but we have a lot of assessments in there. Should we be including things like SATs and AP scores?
I don't know, that's a good question.
No, you can't.
I mean, it's worth a discussion, that's all
Sure.
I'm saying. And
I
should
think we have in the past.
I think we have too, and they're not there now. And should we possibly even, one of the things that the district does really, really well is the core indicator data from the Chapter 74 programs, and that's not in here. And those things enrich our knowledge about the district. So if you're calling it a profile, I wonder if we could just add those things. Sure.
Ms. Mahon?
I agree about the SAT and the SATs and having that information, because it's definitely a key indicator, and it also helps us, or it will help the school committee going forward if we have to put any other interventions in if the scores were to be going down, which I don't anticipate they will be, but it does help us understand the statistics there. I wanted to go back to the presentation that you had, just an enormous amount of information in here, from Clifford Marshall Dental to not having the eyeglasses, which is just such a disappointment, that I understand funding. The dental piece, that's a Mass Health funding, right? Is that?
There's Department of Public Health, and then also this new program that we call Big Smiles Massachusetts.
Okay, so it's a collaboration. It's not across the both schools, it's a
No.
grant through. And I knew that was, but I just want to make sure people at home, and it's a pilot through Clifford Marshall.
We started with Cliff Marshall to see how it would go, and it went beautifully. So we're going to try to see what other schools we can target.
That'd be incredibly exciting, because and I know that sometimes when people hear this at home, they'll wonder how it ties into education, but a healthy student ties into the education. It's, I don't know if anybody's ever had a toothpaste, but if you ever have, it's going to be very hard to get through the day, and some kids that just don't have access to it. It's just an incredible opportunity for our public schools, and I thank you for finding it and bringing it to the public schools. When Officer Sauter was up speaking, and I'm always excited to see Kate when you come up and speak. I'm going to miss that when I'm not in school committee anymore. I remember the first time you presented. But the collaboration that we're having is something, and we've always had it, but to actually see all of the different programs that we're having happen right now in our Quincy Public Schools in regards to prevention. This is something that I credit the mayor's office for doing so. I'm not sure maybe hears me say that. I credit the mayor's office for having happened, because honestly, this isn't something that's new or a crisis that's new to any of our communities throughout throughout the state of Massachusetts, or even throughout our country. It's a global issue, actually. But the fact is that we went from not knowing how to intervene into our classrooms to really having open discussions about these things, and opening those doors for our students to be able to discuss. It may prevent if it prevents one person from having the atrocity of what drugs can do to somebody, then we've done our job. But unfortunately, I would like to see that we could eradicate it for everybody. But education is definitely the full key. When we first started with interventions in the Quincy Public Schools, it was really a 1-week event that we were having. We still do a lot of those things, but now you're seeing it threaded through almost everything that we do. And that's a credit to the people in the leadership team. It's also a credit to the people who are in the classrooms who are actually having the conversations. And I can just imagine the conversations that sometimes Mom might have them when we discuss. My kids had the opportunity to be in this class, and it was always enlightening at the dinner table what we were talking about. However, that's where it transitions, and that's actually the most exciting part, is when you have that opportunity for students to be open and honest in the classroom, the transition at home. And what I was going to ask Officer Sauter was, we talk a lot about what we're doing in the schools, and we talk about what we're doing with the parents. I think it would be pretty beneficial if we could, it's really hard to say because the funding's not always there, but we sometimes have success and sometimes not success with parents coming to events for certain things. But when you tie those two things together, what you're talking about in the classroom and the DARE officers and the events that are happening, if you have kind of a parent intervention. I know when they have the 1 week, the kids go for DARE. It's a great opportunity to bring those parents together and just let them know. For some parents, it's hard to talk to their kids. They don't know how to engage in that conversation. And if they're just given the same tools that you are taught, even when talking about marijuana, to be able to have those conversations. Because it's not always the easiest thing to bring up, but when you realize that everybody else is talking about it, sometimes, you know, we think we have the best relationship, or we don't want anybody to know that we're fighting with our children, but sometimes you find out everybody's doing that because we are so concerned about what's happening. It opens the doors for other parents to talk to each other too. And then finally, I was happy to hear that the work that you're doing with the marijuana issue that we have in this, I mean, the pressure that we have in our school system and with everything that's going on, the legalization of marijuana has really just tripped everybody because it makes it seem it's in candy, it's in every access that they possibly can have. These are kids and they're vulnerable and they think, well, if it's in candy, it's okay. Or if it's in brownies, it's okay. And they don't realize what it is, and families don't realize what it is, and you know, they don't realize the danger that they're putting their families in. You see on the news all the time. But the fact that we're having the conversations, that they're getting the education that we need to help educate our students, hopefully will prevent any of those things from happening. It's not going to prevent all of them. We've obviously had some incidents where we've had to deal with things too, but just the fact that we're opening our eyes and seeing that we have to take care of these issues for our students is something that we should be applauding ourselves for. Now, I think there's always more that we can do, but we're at least focusing and continuing the conversation, and we're having it more. Like I said, we started, and when you start something, it starts small, but we're seeing it grow, and we're seeing it thread throughout the curriculum, and I think that's an important place to be. So I thank you for the presentation, and I wish Mr. Don was here because I had questions for him too, but that's okay. Thanks.
Mrs. Hewlett? Mrs. Hewlett?
Thank you. I wanted to say thank you very much. This was wonderful. I did have one question for Laura. In the program improvement plan, I believe I read that there's 180 kids right now that are homeless that are in the Quincy Public Schools. And I wanted to find out if you could have the breakdown of elementary, middle, and high school. Because I noticed in here I didn't see a breakdown. That'd be helpful.
Yep.
And is that number lower than last year?
Well, I don't know if it's lower at this point in time.
Yeah, it's kind of
So it's lower now than it was at the end of the year. But sometimes, unfortunately, families experience distress and, you know, this is someone
Good
understood.
number.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mayor Cook?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say thank you. During the exercise component, I was you staring at me. My message there. This is
You actually mentioned your name.
But I did want to ask if, is it too late for Dr. D at Public Goalie for that aging process? Seriously, it's hard to believe I'm 10 years as mayor, and when I ran in 2007 for the first time, that was such an educational year for me on this issue. Lifelong resident, 3 children, had no clue the depth of the issue of the addiction that we were facing as a city. So I've learned a lot over the years, and one of the commitments I made was to bring people together, as much collaboration as we possibly can, chase every available dollar we can in the program. I was told by some old timers that have been in the business a long time, it's really a 3-legged stool, enforcement, education, treatment. And you look over the years with the task force that we put together, and all the folks that are in the task force, each of them bring amazing talent, energy, and commitment. And the prevention piece has really grown, and largely due to your leadership, the superintendent, and the schools, the wonderful work you're doing there, because that's the best shot we have, is the prevention piece.
Yeah.
The more people we can keep from going down that road, the more success we're going to achieve with the numbers. And the numbers of stats are daunting. And as much as we've done as a community, and you see Peter Thompson, what he does, Bay State Community, Blue Cross, Gavin Foundation, we can list them all, Learn to Code, that have all been participating. Everybody's at the table, and everybody's talking to each other, and everybody's sharing resources and working very hard together. So I want to thank you for all the good work that's been going on in our classrooms, in our schools. It doesn't just happen. I know the superintendent and I talked a lot about different issues, but implementation happens at your level and in the classroom. And I just want to say a big thank you on behalf of the residents of Quincy. We still have a lot of work to do, but we've come so far as a community, so thanks so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Axel?
As I read both of the plans, I was so struck by how many different departments within Quincy Public Schools the two of you touch, and how many resources are available for our students to have an adult, a caring adult out there for them. And it's just so important, particularly we are a big system, and it brings it down to a level where, you know, we're a little community when you get down to each of the schools. And I know how much work each of you put in. One of the numbers I always am so impressed with every year is how many visits the nurses have per year. And when you think about that, you know, that some of our students are going to school and not feeling well, and knowing that there's a caring person who's going to take care of them, our students with chronic illnesses, how important it is for the parents of students with chronic illnesses to know that there's that nurse in the building. It's just phenomenal, and I know it really, really enriches our students' experience in Quincy Public Schools. So between health services and student support services, I just really was absolutely amazed, and I always am every year when I read these plans. So, and as I think everyone touched upon, we have done so much more over the years. Unfortunately, the need's there, but you know, we've really addressed it, and you know, we'll continue to. So thanks so much for looking for those programs, looking for the SMILE program, and thinking about how many children aren't going to get that toothache. And it's just amazing. I know it takes work to really dig and find those. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
I just want to really commend both of your departments, both you, Mara, and Miss Bailey. Growing up in Quincy, you know, being a former student of Officer Don and Miss Vasquez-Avitas, and a current student at North Quincy High School, and seeing the strength of the SAD chapter under Miss Houlihan and the guidance department, the psychology department. I go to, I don't know if you know this, I'm a part of an advisory council to the Mass Board of Education, and I go there and I meet with their students from like dozens of districts across the state, and they talk all about like different problems their schools are having and different and systems that aren't supportive of them as students. And I sometimes share stories about how our system like is supportive and how nice it is and how strong the school spirit is. And some the kids are shocked there about how positive a school environment can be. They're just so used to the negativity that they're surrounded by. So I was really impressed with this presentation, and it really shows how strong this program is in Quincy. So just thank you all for that.
Thank you, that means a lot.
Anybody else? Dr. Christopher.
Simply thank you very, very much, you know, for all the work that you do. It is so much, it's unbelievable. From the classroom, you know, with our health educators like Caitlin, and the idea that, as Barbara says, you know, that it is such a collaborative effort. You know, it's truly system-wide, but it's also citywide. I want to thank the committee, you know, because you helped us with a nurse, an additional nurse as well. A lot of the professional development you also provide in the budget, so I want to thank you very, very much for that. We're lucky to have you both. I know that. I know the work that you do. I think about the long hours that you put in, the timelines that we have. You know, another timeline, another initiative, you know. But you do a remarkable job. You know, we talk about surround care, you know, or I talk about surround care. But this is a great example of what this city does and what this school system does for not only its students and its staff, but families in the city. So I'll be very, very proud of the work that you do, because I am. And I
Thank you.
think we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Under new business, out-of-state travel, Quincy High School, North Quincy High School robotics. Motion to approve by Ms. Hubley, second by Ms. Sola. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to additional business. Ms. Mahoney.
Because we touched upon enrollment tonight, and I know we'll eventually be having a presentation on enrollment, if we could also add into the enrollment, I know when Ms. Owens does the big enrollment piece, if we could also see maybe where some of those, I think you said the most of the numbers were coming in at the high school level? if we could see maybe what areas of they're coming in, if any of them are coming from any of the new development, just,
Oh, sure.
yeah, I think it's just a, as we're trending to look at things, we should probably add that in as a statistical look to go look at that. And then also, I don't believe we ever voted on the St. Mary's piece for the property, and I think that got approved at the city council. But then what our intentions are and what our plans, I know that's not right on the table right now, but we should probably start adding that into as a conversation in future going forward as to where the direction I'm gonna go with that building and that location. And I know it was mentioned that it will be for elementary, but if that's the case, maybe we can start forecasting what that might be as well.
Okay, thank you. Under communications, upcoming school committee meetings. On October 11th at the Cotting Building at 6:30, and on October 25th at the Point Webster Middle School, also at 6:30. There are also some upcoming subcommittee meetings. Budget and Finance will be meeting Thursday, October 19th at 5 o'clock. Facilities and Security will be meeting October 19th at 5:30. And the Policy Subcommittee will be meeting on Wednesday, October 19th at 6 o'clock. Reports of subcommittee, seeing none. Executive session, none.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much.